Support for this episode is provided by Pennsylvania College of Art and Design and listeners like you.
Welcome to the Lancast. I'm David Moulton.
I'm Sean B. Martin.
I'm Jason Mundock.
And I'm Keith Slesser.
And this is Guys Night.
Well, folks, let's jump right in this. We, of course, collected questions from the audience, as we normally do, and we've got a bunch here that should make some interesting conversation. Let's start off with the simple ones, and I'm going to ask these two at the same time, and we can make them more general if we need to. They were specifically stated for sci-fi film, but we can make it broader should we need to. Hottest sci-fi chick and best sci-fi vehicle.
Here we go.
I know.
It's always about who was sexiest this and sci-fi that.
They're the important questions.
Evidently, that's what our listeners think about is sexy sci-fi.
and
Hot space chicks.
Apparently badass vehicles.
So what's the question?
Sexiest chick.
What's the hottest sci-fi chick and hottest best sci-fi vehicle?
This is way too nerdy.
You can't handle it?
I don't know.
That's why I started off so that we could just get this out of the way.
Well, thanks for doing that anyway. Well, go ahead, DM.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You got this one.
You would think I would.
Yeah.
I feel like if I go with anyone other than if we're thinking current sci-fi, to go anywhere other than Trisha Halfer would probably be wrong. Battlestar Galactica.
Okay.
Blonde.
I was going to say number 5, Blonde, from Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. But I remember that when The Fifth Element came out, whatever her name is that I can't pronounce from the Resident Evil movies.
Bia Jovovich.
Yes. I thought that she was quite attractive. So that's, I guess, my vote. For vehicle, I don't know. I'll just go with Voyager. It's easier. I like the ship a lot.
Nothing like the Batmobile or...
Oh yeah.
The default go-to, right? The Batmobile. I mean, that's sort of like that's not an original.
No.
No, it's not. It's kind of like everything's the
Batmobile. Of course, you're going to the Batmobile. It's like that question was written for the Batmobile.
Seriously.
That's probably what they were thinking. Someone is going to say Batmobile. They had a bet.
They probably
Somebody
did.
just lost 10
Someone they're
bucks.
drinking right now. Every time we say Batmobile,
They will be so drunk by the end of this.
Batmobile.
I'm going to stick with Voyager because I like that ship a lot.
All right.
So, anyone else have anything to contribute to this one, or is this just straight up me?
Well, I'm kind of limited. I mean, I'm limited to Star Wars.
Okay.
When I was a kid, and a few of the Star
So
Trek.
C-3PO.
C-3PO was pretty hot as an 8-year-old, and as to some of the Star Trek series.
Okay. Well,
I always had a thing for Kira Nerys from Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, totally.
I kind of had a thing for her.
Yeah, all right.
Especially when it was on, and it's when it was originally on.
Yeah.
My roommate was I lived in Tennessee. My roommate was a writer. He was a video guy and a screenwriter. And he actually pitched a couple times to them. They flew him out. He had a few scripts. They never used one of his scripts, but he got to go out twice.
Wow.
Based on what he submitted.
Yeah.
Through the mail at the time. And
I don't know what that is.
yeah, it's like an analog email. Yeah. They use cars. Nah.
It's like an analog.
You have to leave?
You have to actually go there. It's like Skype, except in person.
So they flew him out, and so I lived with him for a year, and he's a college friend of mine, and so he was really into the whole world of Star Trek and had all the books and because he had to know all that stuff to write for it.
Yeah.
He had like the technical manuals and all those things. And I was just a fan, I would, before we went out on Saturday night, we would watch Deep Space Nine. It was right when Next Generation ended. It was when I lived with them. It was about halfway through the time I lived with them, that series. So anyway, yeah, Kira.
Okay.
She was pretty hot.
I would
Then it's the nose.
See, I was kind of, when that came out, I was kind of all about Jadzia Dax when she came on.
Well, of course. I mean, everybody was. I like the spunky one with the ridges on
And the short hair.
on the schnoz.
The schnoz.
I got a thing for Bajoran women.
For
Got a thing for short one.
Well, I'm gonna go like as far as sci-fi chick. I don't know. I think I don't know the actress's name, but the chick that played Micah on the Warehouse 13.
I never saw it.
You never saw it. Yeah,
I guess it's valid enough.
it's a sci-fi show. I thought she was hot.
Yeah.
That was a series?
It's a series. Yeah.
I mean, I've heard of it. I just never watched it.
But yeah, I thought she was hot. As far as cool sci-fi vehicle, I don't know if this counts as sci-fi vehicle, but James Bond
No, that doesn't
vehicle,
count.
does that count as sci-fi?
No.
Kind of.
It's like, no.
Well, I mean, Batman's not really
I just threw a
sci-fi either.
flag.
I mean, it's
Are you pick a vehicle?
I didn't pick a vehicle yet. I'm still thinking.
someone just took a drink.
See, he wanted to do James Bond vehicle, and you took it. He's just...
That's why I'm calling it a penalty.
Wait,
Vehicle interference.
You took mine.
No, I would have gone with that, like those things that they rode around on Star Wars in the desert,
Oh,
or those big ass,
the walker things.
Walkers.
Yeah.
AT-ATs
Those are
the
pretty cool.
scooters.
I don't know, the things in the woods, the little, like, flying snowmobiles.
Hover.
I thought of them as snowmobiles, but
Oh,
they're
with
like
the
flying
teddy bears things.
Yeah,
Speeder
yeah.
bikes, yeah.
What were those things called?
He says he knows Star Wars.
I know.
No, I didn't say I know Star Wars. I saw Star Wars when I was a kid. So my sexy chick and vehicle sci-fi-ness is limited to
Well, it actually makes sense because they never say their names in the movie. So if you saw it when you were a kid and no one ever told you, you might not know.
That's true.
So they said they didn't name them until they had to come up with a toy to brand the toy.
Oh, what were they called?
Ewoks.
Ewoks. That sounds familiar.
Speeder bikes.
They were called speeder bikes?
Anybody see the little
Yeah,
cupcake
they're
Ewoks?
bikes for some reason.
They couldn't come up with a better name than
And
speeder
then
bikes?
Isn't it just a land speeder? Isn't that
Yeah.
what he drives? Yeah, it's just a land speeder what he drives on Tatooine.
Some production designer's like, George, what are we calling this? And he's like, Land Speeder. TM. $1 million.
Exactly. Sean, it's down to you.
Well,
you need to pick another car, by the way.
I'm just going to predict the obvious favorite for someone my age who might be listening to this. Firefly on both accounts. Any of the women of Firefly, period.
How could I have forgotten Kaylee in my dream?
And the ship Serenity, which is basically a character on that show. So there you go. I win.
I can't. I
Boom.
feel ashamed.
I win the internet.
You win the internet. I feel ashamed for not have saying Kaylee. She's got all the things that are so
Even the
important
prostitute
in my
is
crushing.
extremely attractive
Oh my
on that
God.
show.
Can we just take a minute? Just remember.
Firefly is the name of it?
Yep.
You've never seen Firefly?
I have to look it up.
It's 13 episodes in one movie, and it's a beautiful story.
It's beautiful. Since we're there, let's just go into a related question.
Wait,
that.
there's a Firefly question
There
asked?
is a Firefly question. Andrew submits, it's been 10 years since Firefly was canceled. Discuss Joss Whedon's greatest accomplishments since, and if he would make a good choice to direct Star Wars Episode 7.
I saw a really recent accomplishment of his. Did anyone else see the vote for Zombie Apocalypse for 2012?
No.
A vote for Mitt Romney is a vote for the Zombie Apocalypse. He produced a promotional video for Mitt Romney for the election.
Yeah, I actually saw that.
Yeah,
Is that the guy sitting in the kitchen?
yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's Joss Whedon.
Okay. And he made Firefly?
He's got a very wry sense of humor.
Buffy the
Guess you
Vampire
couldn't-
Slayer, Angel, those were also
okay.
his.
Yeah.
And
Something called the
Avengers.
Avengers.
So, yeah. Okay, his accomplishments. First off, Avengers was great. When Buffy and stuff was before Firefly, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, he did Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
Right.
Which is awesome. And I love Firefly. But I don't know if he would be good for Star Wars.
No, he would never do it.
Yeah.
I think regardless of whether or not he'd be good for it, he'll never do that.
Yeah. He's too...
His own material.
Yeah. It's... Yeah.
I think the Avengers was a huge stretch, and that's as far as he'll ever go.
And I mean, even then, he did a good job for that, which I knew was up for debate since it wasn't his own stuff. But Star Wars is too, I don't know, it's just not actiony, like campy enough for him. I feel like I'm eating my own words. It's like,
No, he would break it if he tried to put Joss Whedon on it. It's not his thing. It's like a Spielberg or a J.J. Abrams or like a director like that.
yeah. Do you know Joss Whedon, Keith?
Yes, I know. I mean, I know some of the stuff that he's done. I can't say I know everything, but Avengers. I mean, that's
Right.
I mean, I thought that was.
I tried to get
freaking
you to
awesome.
watch Dr. Harble's sing-along blog, and you
Yeah.
had the DVD for like
Well,
7 years.
it's really hard to sit and watch.
It's also
a movie.
free on the internet.
It's also free on the internet.
It is available. I am planning on watching it at some point, but I just, it's hard to get time to sit down and watch a show without children climbing all over you. And,
Yeah. How often do you watch the Colbert Report? Because it's about the same length.
Yes, but the Colbert Report, my wife is watching, and I sit down and watch it with her.
All right. Jason, are you familiar with him at all?
I have no interest in answering this question.
Moving on.
No comment.
Well, I feel like we can't really blaze through that without saying Star Wars just got bought by Disney.
Yeah, so what's the story? Because I saw some things online, like bits and pieces, but fill me in.
Okay, so Star Wars bought Disney.
Star Wars bought Disney?
Or Disney bought Star Wars. Disney bought Lucasfilms.
That'd be great the other way
The
around.
other way around.
Bought Disney. The Empire is taking over.
Mickey Mouse is working for the Emperor now.
From now on, the only Disney movies that come out are just remastered with additional footage.
So Disney bought Star Wars.
Disney bought Lucasfilms, and which includes Star Wars. So, and they announced that in 2015 we'll get Star Wars Episode 7.
Wow.
So
Is Lucas still involved?
he is creative consultant.
No, then. He's just getting paid.
Yeah, basically.
Yes. Yes.
Basically. And they said that the
So
story...
it might be good then.
Yeah, I actually think that's a good thing because you look, Disney owns Marvel, and since they bought Marvel, they've created the Avengers.
Well, we talked about this last time about Star Wars that nobody else has been able to be involved
Right.
with it.
Right.
Yeah,
And there you go.
It's like we predicted this.
it's like
They
they
actually
heard the
heard the
podcast.
podcast and decided we're going to buy that.
Yeah.
Which is clearly what happened. What else did Lucas do?
Well, Indiana Jones.
Oh, that was him too, right?
Yeah, and
Wow.
But that's owned by Paramount because of Spielberg. The characters and everything.
yeah.
I think
Is it?
Yes.
This
I
is
thought he
idea
has to be
was-
involved though in some form, doesn't he?
Maybe, but I mean, it's not owned by Lucasfilm. It's owned
Okay.
by Paramount.
Okay. Well, the interesting thing is, I guess it's X amount of years before Disney will get the rights to the originals,
Oh.
and then something about like
Then we'll get them on Blu-ray.
A New Hope has even longer than all the others. Like something like The New Hope never runs out with Fox. But the other two, I don't know, something like that.
So episode 7
Episode 7
on the way.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
So I heard someone
7,
was
8,
talking
and
about
9.
saying that they're talking about bringing back some of the old actors.
Well, if they
stuff
finish
back
the
to play.
story, there's 3 more. There's 3 more books after Return of the
Are they going to
Jedi.
use the books?
I don't know, because originally they said when the announcements came out, it was like it'll be a whole new story. But now Mark Hamill and
Carrie Fisher.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. Carrie
Hamill-
Fisher doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford have both hinted that they're in talks to return,
Oh, wow.
and that it would be the stories from their other ones, which I think it's been too long. So
It'd be tough.
yeah,
I actually, as un-sci-fi as I am and my minimal exposure, I actually named my daughter after Jaina in the books.
oh really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I got her name.
Which book? I don't read them.
Did you read the official books that came out, the 3? I don't remember who wrote them, but they were apparently the licensed or the official, next 3 books. And Solo and
It's one of their daughters.
they have a twins,
Yeah,
Jason and Jaina.
I think that's what they're looking to do. Those books.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And I just happened to be reading them in that 10 years ago.
my first girlfriend was a Jaina.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Named after the books.
I don't think so.
I don't know when those were written, but they were good.
I heard they were good.
They went to Chewbacca's home. Like there was a whole Wookiee subplot going on, and yeah, it was pretty fascinating.
Did they have Christmas there?
We don't speak of that.
So it'd be cool if I never thought that they would ever make them, and I just especially
Could it be done with the actors at their age now playing? The parents?
Solo and Princess Leia are married and have kids who are, if I remember correctly, they're teenagers. So so that's not.
Maybe.
It's not too far.
Can we discuss how Carrie Fisher does not look the part anymore?
I was going to say that
They couldn't do the
part anymore.
bikini.
This Han Solo.
She couldn't do it.
They'd have to do some digital editing, maybe, but
But I mean, the way they
pulled it
make
off in Tron.
Yeah, the way they make people look.
That's true. They did pull it off in Tron. Let's move on here to something that I hope that Jason can relate to, and the rest of us are kind of clueless. I will be, at least. Best progressive rock band of all time. Rush or Yes?
Wow.
I don't know, because I wouldn't be able to tell them apart.
My preference would be Rush. I don't know if it's the best. I don't know how you would judge the best. But if it's only those two, I would say my preference is Rush.
Well, Ray
Clearly.
submitted this question, so in light of the way he phrased it before, Rush or Yes, what would be your best of all time if you could choose from any?
Oh, Pink Floyd.
Oh, so he's saying like Rush or Yes as examples.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay.
what.
Yeah.
It's colon Rush or Yes. Do you have an opinion, Sean? I have no clue. Like, I know what music I like, and don't tell me where to put it. I don't
know. I like a lot of. It's hard to tell. I don't like when people make me try and pick the.
I don't like this either. I hate this favorites game. I don't like it at all.
Because I like some. I mean, I like the Moody Blues.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the real prog rock people would argue significantly with answers like Pink Floyd, but King Crimson is sort of a purist's vote usually when I have those conversations. But I'm a very peripheral prog rock fan. Like, I like a few.
I'm not really a purist.
You know what I mean? Like, I like Kansas, who would be considered early prog rock, and but I only like
Genesis,
what I like. I don't
Genesis
like the genre as a whole thing. Yeah, Genesis.
Give me some famous names, and maybe I can choose one. Like, I know Genesis.
Yeah, I like Genesis a lot.
Is Boston?
No, Boston wouldn't be considered.
Genesis with
Peter Gabriel.
Peter
Genesis
Gabriel
would
Genesis,
be considered prog rock.
Yeah.
So, actually, a lot of the pop bands that you would know from the late '70s and early '80s started as prog rock bands, like Journey.
Okay.
Journey was really different. Styx was really different, like from what the songs Genesis, like once Peter Gabriel left.
Yeah, it's Peter.
Both Peter Gabriel and Genesis became pop acts, but prior to that, they were doing some really, experimental, interesting music. There's a really obscure band called the Soft Machine.
They're my favorite. That's the one I would have. That's one I would.
Yeah, you would have gone with the Soft Machine.
Soft Machine.
They made like one record in 1968.
It's the only thing on my record player.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you have a Soft Machine tattoo on your back.
Yeah. I'm really
David's actually a hipster, so whatever band nobody else likes, he likes it.
But anyway, that's a tough question. That's a tough question for this.
All of these things happened before I was born, practically.
But if you ever liked, bands like Styx or something, which would have been a long, even their pop days, it's interesting to go back and hear what they sounded like prior
Queen.
to that.
No, not really prog rock, I guess, but they're
They're sort of on the fence, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're
I
talking
like Queen.
Yeah.
They just have that whole
Queen's
opera.
my favorite.
They have that whole opera
prog rock
thing.
band. It's settled.
That's it.
The Bee Gees.
I want to ride my bicycle.
Let's take a break from questions, and I believe you brought something to the table.
I definitely brought something to the table because
let's get this
in
out
my
there.
younger days, when I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I was really interested in, or I don't know if I was really interested in it, but I listened to a lot of paranormal radio, talk radio.
Mm-hmm.
It started in Tennessee in the mid 90s. I was, got turned on to some of these late night shows like Art Bell and Coast to Coast and things like that, and really, like, they've been talking about 2012 and December 21st, 2012 since, like, for decades. And every once in a while there would be a show, and they would talk about, these guys would come on and they would talk about the end of the world or whatever. And it dawned on me when we were coming over here that this would be the last guys' night that we'll really ever do. because of the
Because the whole end of the world movie.
because of the whole end of the world thing.
This
Right.
damn Mayans got sick of writing their calendar.
But it's just a trip to think that it's actually, for me it is, because I've been listening to this my whole adult life. People talking about 2012, and it would always just seem like it was so far in the future, you know?
Yeah.
Like after the whole hovercraft, you know, Jetsons aluminum foil outfits, like after all that stuff even that was supposed to
Vacation on
happen.
the moon.
Yeah, all that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it was going to be, you know, 2012 would be way out there, and here we are staring down the barrel of this. And I was just wondering what you fellas thought about 2012 and the end of the Mayan calendar.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because, one, we made it this far. It's only like another month.
Oh, no, I mean, we've got another, what? You
Was
know,
it December 14th or
no,
what's it?
21st.
21st.
Yeah.
Well, at least we get to see The Hobbit.
Oh, when's that coming out?
The 14th.
14th.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, you can see it a
Yeah.
few times.
Does this mean
I've seen it a couple times before. I'm going to make sure I'm at the theater watching it when the world ends.
we don't have to do Christmas shopping for this year?
No. That is
That's
a complete,
your excuse.
There
that
we
is
go.
a complete waste of
Alicia-
time.
I
Sorry,
expected
David.
the world to end.
Sorry, expect the world to end.
I bought you this cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts.
It's the
Well, that-
21st, right?
Yeah, the 21st.
Should be like, you had 3 days. What's up? I was so baffled.
I mean, have you read up on any of this stuff?
I couldn't get out of my closet.
I haven't read too much on 2012. In high school, I did study escapology. Is that it?
Eschatology.
Was that?
Eschatology?
Eschatology.
How things will end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the end. So I remember studying that kind of stuff, and that's more biblically based. But
They never mentioned.
2012, no. We did look at some other religion stuff, but I don't know. You can look at it a bunch of different ways because you look at all the natural disasters we're having, and you're kind of like, well, I mean, I guess maybe, but.
Are we having more natural disasters?
Well, maybe not. I don't know.
Yes.
They just seem to be hitting. Okay,
Yes.
The United
More and more severe.
Yes. Okay.
the United States is having more natural disasters. It's just like we're catching up to the rest of the world.
We have
Stuff.
3. There are 6 super volcanoes on this planet. 3 of them are on the North American continent.
Really?
Yes.
What happens if they all go off?
If one goes off, we are all dead.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So as far as that Christmas shopping thing goes, just don't even worry.
Right. I'm telling you, spend your money today, folks.
Make poor decisions now.
Dial 1-800 the Lancast.
Donate
Make your
it all.
donation.
Yes. Just give us your money and we'll build a shelter for you. Right, guys?
Shelter of community.
I don't know. It's one of those things. I guess you have to decide on how they're coming up with these facts. Like, what are they basing it on? Is it precognition, or is it like, is there any type of weird mathematical probability?
Doesn't the Mayan calendar, though, the way it's set up, my understanding was that it's actually like a reboot kind of thing. Like they kind of had like, I forget what they call them, but different phases, and this is like the 5th phase or whatever.
I think you're right.
And
It's like
it's not so much that it's going to be the end and like disaster as it's going to be like a new beginning kind of thing.
it's
or
like the way that days fit into months fit into years. They have different phases of like, I think they're all base 10s.
Right.
And this is the end of like the largest phase.
Right.
So it's supposed to flip to the next one. That's all it is.
Right. I mean, that's what was my understanding.
It's a very long amount of time. It's thousands and thousands of years, but we're at the end of that phase.
Of that one.
Yeah.
So we have to start our calendars over too.
Well, they were included. That civilization was included in this phase, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so they just quit writing,
Right.
Like, why bother?
It's like if someone found a stockpile of our calendars that only went up to the year 2500 and they were like, well, that's when the end of the world is.
Right.
2500.
Actually, I work in software that the last date that's valid is 12/31/4000.
So that's the end.
That's actually the end of the world.
right. That's why to whatever you just said.
That's
Yeah.
No, I mean I didn't.
Well, I don't think the 2. That's
It'd be
Y4.
Y4K.
Okay.
Prepare. But that's I mean
Buying my bottled water now.
I never thought that the world was going to end, but I just thought it was interesting that that we are at that point, and it does make you wonder what's happening. So there are some more natural disasters, I guess, in terms of the United States. But I just wonder if it's just a phase of the Earth.
I don't know. I think it's just a phase of the Earth because there's so much evidence of huge natural disasters in the past and geological evidence and stuff. So yeah, there's a good chance there will be another. There's a good chance we'll be hit by an asteroid at some point too, because it's happened before. Why won't it happen again?
That'd be weird.
Getting hit by lightning twice.
Weird.
If an asteroid hit, Pennsylvania or anywhere on the globe,
Yeah.
it'd be weird.
I don't know. Can you imagine living in a world after a natural disaster that would end? I mean, okay.
That would basically end humanity.
Yeah.
But not really.
You see these movies and stuff, and they're like, oh, this happened and everything froze over. Well, it's not instant. That takes a while. Yeah, eventually we can't survive in it, but could you imagine living in the world where...
As it's going to pot.
as it's you didn't die in a disaster or whatever.
Right.
Civilization is still intact. It's just hey, the weather's changing, and in 5 years we will all be dead because we won't be
able to survive that cold or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, are you talking about Game of Thrones?
Because
I think that's the plot of Game of Thrones.
Really? Okay.
Winter is coming, David.
Okay,
Winter
it's
is
true.
coming.
Okay, so imagine whatever the river floods. I don't know. Too much rain. But I mean, because you think we have all these modern technology in houses and stuff, but then you look at disasters where electricity is taken out, and basically we're back to square one. With New York and New Jersey.
That's why I'm starting my own little farm.
Sandy
there,
Frankenstein.
He's starting his own compound.
It's on
My own compound. That's why I have glasses.
Slussertown.
Well, this brings up, I mentioned it before, but precognition. How many of you would have any kind of opinion on that?
Of what?
On telling the future?
Yeah, on predicting it in any sort of way.
What?
I don't know. Okay, so...
Sean's going to say what?
What? Okay, so we're talking about 2012 being the end, right? And
Well, we're just talking about 2012 as being.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
And then I got the phrase that always goes through my mind when someone talks about the future is to know the future is to be trapped by it, which is a Dune theme.
Dune, yeah.
And those books have a lot to do with precognitive abilities. So, do you have any opinions on precognitive abilities being pertinent at all in society? Do you think that it's possible?
Do you mean guessing the future or
No,
knowing
actually,
the future?
Knowing or seeing the
Like
pattern.
Storm Tracker 8?
Yeah,
the
like
guys
basically-
who try to predict what's going to happen with the weather?
Yeah, or there's some people...
Or people that actually see the future, like as in Dune, like the Atreides, but knowing the future. With
they
spice.
know the future because they know the past in Dune. So they see the patterns and they know where things
I
are going to go.
see.
So,
Okay.
like a mathematician could predict the future. And with that, whatever, let's just skip this. You guys are all looking at
I don't
me
know
like,
if you're talking about
what?
a supernatural ability to predict the future, or if you're talking about like the way that 538 blog called the election based on probabilities. Do you mean like
Let's go either way.
Well, maybe it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Maybe the ability to.
But that's just using math and science. That's not like
So somebody could...
a third
how do you know
eye
the
is
minds
telling
didn't
you.
use... Well, how do you know the minds didn't use math and science to predict that we're all going to die on the 21st?
They used math and science to figure out a calendar. I know that.
And then
Yeah.
they got sick of doing it, so they stopped, and everyone assumed that was the end of the world.
I'm pretty sure the Spaniards came and killed them, but yes. This took a dark turn, didn't it?
I know.
I think you can predict the future.
I think
Ken?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that sometimes people have dreams or something, and there's some sort of.
But here, I don't think there's any value to it, though. Because yes, I can predict the future, and I can have a dream that shows the future, but I don't know that that's true or that future happens until it happens. Until it comes, and then
'Cause it's not
and then-
certain.
and then it comes about, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I had a dream about this. I knew this was going to happen, but it didn't really help me at all because
Oh, right. I'm not talking about like
you
winning
know.
the lottery.
Right.
Like I dream the lottery numbers and then I win them. But I think that you sort of can dream, and maybe we guide the future a little bit.
Well, that's
So
to
you're-
know the future is to be trapped.
Yeah.
by.
So your brain sort of wires itself to make certain actions happen. Now, not on a huge scale. right? Like,
I wish we had pictures of like Sean's face throughout this whole conversation. This look like, what is going on?
that was pretty funny.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Basically, can we or can't we? I think it's pointless to worry about it because, like I said, I don't think there's any actual value to it.
We should have let this go when I said let's get this go.
All right, so who's the hottest sci-fi chick?
Who's the hottest? Back to the sci-fi chick.
Now I feel like I could talk about women on sci-fi shows for hours.
All right. Let's round this back in. Ron asks, do you press the elevator call button even if it's already lit up?
Yes.
Do you? What do you expect to accomplish?
Nothing. I'm like, well, I got to go there, and it's just an automatic response.
I have
just in case, like it was stuck on.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, sure.
If you get on the wrong one, then you're going down.
That way, it's going to stop either way at my floor.
Yeah, but then you have to write it down.
I can get on and I can commandeer it, make it go the other way.
I'm with
Now
Shawn.
we're talking about supernatural powers.
Yeah. I'm with Shawn. I push it 2 or 3 times for whatever reason.
Right, like it works on the first time.
Yeah,
that's a good point because even after I press it the first time, I probably press it more than once,
a couple times. And if you're waiting for a while, I walk up and just tap it a couple more times.
Like for the same reason that you press those lights for crosswalks that don't actually work. Like it feels
right,
good.
That's a total. That thing's not wired up to anything.
No, Americans with Disabilities Act. They removed them all.
It's wired up to like a counter that somebody watches and takes bets on. How many times today? I've been known to do it, but I mentally sometimes I think about it. Like I'm walking up to it, I'm like, that is lit. Why do I need to push it? And sometimes I am like almost touching it. I'm like, I don't need to do this. What am I doing? Like it's coming.
Yeah, I don't push it.
You don't push the limits at all? In life, in general.
He doesn't want to exert the extra effort.
To tell you the truth, the only time I use an elevator is if there's no stairs available, or if I have a cart or something that I can't take the stairs.
That is a lie.
No, it's
I
not.
have ridden on elevators with you.
What?
That's because you push the button.
What elevator? Or okay, if I'm with somebody that's taking the elevator,
Keith was like, "I'm just going there anyway."
Oh my god!
No, I think it's faster to take the stairs. In most cases, in Lancaster City, in most cases, because if it's only like
these aren't tall buildings.
If it's only like 2 or 3 stories, I can get up faster the steps than I can waiting for the elevator.
Do you tell people that people who are waiting for the elevator, I can get up there faster than you? And you like
challenge them.
You run up and you're like, told you. Like when they get off.
I do. Actually, I'm usually not out of breath, but I do. I do get up there.
Don't look at that
I'm
man.
Like halfway down the hallway, and I see them coming out of the elevator, and I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. But I mean, if I at work, I deliver stuff a lot, so I have carts, so I have to take the elevator. But if I'm just like, I usually don't take it if I'm.
Keith's legs are like tree trunks of just pure stair trumping muscle.
If they are, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Since no one can see, they have to believe what I said.
I'm ripped.
Wow. All right, Liam asks, and this will be subjective since I am the only single person here, but let's go ahead and ask it anyway. Things you used to look for in girls when you were younger, but now you don't, and vice versa. So let's say before your wives.
I looked for my wife. And I found her.
And every day I keep looking for her.
So weird.
I don't know what happened to her.
David,
you go first since you're the only single person.
I'm just gonna cry. Can I cry for a little while? No, just kidding. I don't know. Sure, there are things that I think that every experience that you have with every relationship like gives you knowledge and growth as to more what you want out of the next person or whatever moving forward. So of course my tastes have changed.
I believe he's referring to physical attributes.
Oh. Okay. Red hair. I love red hair. And when I was younger, I was just like any hair.
Does it say physical attributes?
It didn't. What do you want from me? Stop.
Non-bald women is what you're in.
Yeah. When I was younger, it was
now I'm
non-bald
settling.
women, and now I'm like, I would prefer red-haired women.
I would prefer any hair.
What? No, I forgot.
I think he meant characteristics.
It
I think he meant anything.
It doesn't specifically say physical attributes. It could be.
Like, now I like fatties. Like,
Yeah.
that changed for me. That's not, I don't.
We need to get you a shirt that says that. Now I like fatties.
All right, any characteristic.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't know. I guess when I was younger, I liked more, I think I was attracted to more sterner women, like women who were very controlling. And now I'm more attracted to like a laid-back artistic person. So, but still driven, just not like pushy of other people. So.
I think when I was younger, I thought that I was attracted to sporadic women until I dated some of them, and then realized that wasn't at all fun.
Well, so that's what happened to me. The control. I was like, oh, I like this structure, and then I was like, no, wait, I don't.
Yeah, I thought it would be fun to be with someone who was like constantly excited about something or changing their mind, and that is not me. I can't deal with that.
I think I must have been attracted to women who were,
Not bald.
who had hair.
We have a lot in common.
I think I must have been attracted to women who were fairly dramatic about things, based on my early relationships. Either that, or it was just the way it was.
Or you were super dramatic.
And I was, yeah. I would have been probably as dramatic, but those were. I met my wife right out of college, so I didn't really date as an adult.
Okay. So how old were you when you and Suzanne started dating?
I was 23.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I was a couple of years. I graduated from college when I was 21.
All right.
I just turned 23, so I might have even met her when I was 22, and we started dating pretty quickly. So that was a long time ago, and it's fascinating when I have friends, especially who are my age, who say got married a few years ago. I've been with this same woman for 18 years, and it's like I don't have any experience like really dating as an adult.
So then the question is, what didn't you like about your wife then that now you like?
I like that.
I haven't been with my wife long enough to probably be able to think.
Yeah, what didn't I like about her then that I do? Well, she definitely is a stronger person now. I think she was a more submissive person. So when we first dated and then we got married, she didn't have a lot of her own friends. I was sort of the dominant personality in the relationship. So, and I was in Nashville and I was playing music. I was always in bands, and so that was sort of what we did on the weekends. Was I was always playing. So she would come out to these shows, and her friends were my friends or friends that were connected to these bands. And then finally, when we moved here, then we had kids, and that changes your whole.
And then you realized you weren't in charge of anything.
Oh, absolutely that, yeah. But then the social dynamic becomes the two of you and babies. And Friday,
united front against the children.
That's right. Yeah. And you're basically, Keith can speak to that. I mean, and you're home Friday night, and you're home Saturday night, and you're home, and you're just trying to.
You don't get time to watch Dr. Horribles and sing along.
He doesn't even know what it's called. He's not even trying.
But I don't know if I didn't like that about her. We just sort of evolved. But what I do like about her now is that she's definitely much more confident in what she does. She's out doing things that have nothing to do with what I do, and has her own friends and things like that.
I have to say, the dynamic between the two of you, I would have expected her to be more reserved and like you were saying, how she was, because like your personality is very outgoing,
right?
And a lot of time that's the way they are. But then when you meet Suzanne, she's very much like you are, very like lax and very outspoken. And she's very outspoken in certain contexts. She's not the kind of person who would get up in front of people and
be outspoken, but if you're in a closed setting and you get her going on some things, watch
out.
Watch out. Yeah, and so that's kind of a difference, I think.
Let's turn this around back on to Shawn before we move to Keith. Things about your wife when you were
I
dating.
feel like we're going through therapy now.
Dating, and then same thing, but dating and married, since you haven't been... It's 2 years, right?
Yeah, we've been living together for twice that long.
Okay. So, go.
What differences between...
What you didn't like about her that you like about her now?
Yeah.
Same question.
It's long enough for you to have at least one thing.
When we started dating, I had come out of a long-term relationship, and I was very damaged and fragile, and she wanted to take care of me, and that's what I wanted. I was like, yes, someone should take care of me.
Yeah.
I'm broken right now. And after I got over that and I was better, she still wanted to take care of me, and I was like, no. Now I'm a man, and now she takes care of me, and I realize that that's awesome, and she should keep doing that, because sometimes I can't take care of myself. So,
sounds like a good lesson to have learned.
On a recent podcast of ours, we were talking about her kicking my butt into shape, because she got me a gym membership, and I'm eating better, and blah blah blah. And if she weren't doing that, I would not be doing that. But because she's making me do that, I'm doing it, and then I feel good that I did it, and she likes that I did it, so you get that whole bonus effect. So anyway, yeah, I'm glad she decided to just keep taking care of me.
All right. Both questions to Keith now.
Well,
you started dating Lauren when you were still in high school, right?
we were still in high school, yeah.
Yeah.
And I had just come out of a long relationship, oddly enough, that she had hooked me up with.
What a nice girl. When it didn't work out, she was like, I'm still here.
Yeah.
She just told the other girl, warm him up.
Break him in.
Test the waters.
No, I don't know. Like, our relationship has been such like a... Because we've both changed so much since we were... yes, like, what was I look... Like, the question, what would I look for in a woman? I don't even know. Just someone I got along with. I didn't even... I didn't necessarily care specifically. Maybe a little bit, because I was in, Christian school, planning on going to Bible school, so I was looking for a woman that would go to Bible school with me and everything. And Lauren did that, and we went to Bible school. And then everything just kind of got effed up there. And so, but I'd have to say, as far as like our characteristics of how we interact with each other, it hasn't changed a whole lot. We still interact the same way we've always interacted, but it's just that I'm glad that I'm with her, because the way we've changed so drastically in our everything, our belief system, our everything, we've done it sort of together. And, so I guess, I don't know. We've just, I can't think of anything characteristics that she would have had that I didn't like that I do like now, because we don't really have the same characteristics we had when we were
All right. That's your lame answer. I don't know if that counts.
I mean, she's always been strong-willed.
She's just perfect.
And
she's the best. Your marriage is the best. No, just kidding. I'm just teasing you.
No,
loves his wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We used to, when we were first dating, and then we got married like a year and a half out of high school. When we were first married, first dating, I didn't like how she was so opinionated and would argue with me all the time about things. And now,
don't have opinions, woman.
No, it wasn't that she had opinion, but it was just like,
not your opinion.
It was just everything that I, it was like, and now, like, I've learned that she's kept me on my toes and kept me like understanding why I think the things I think. Not I can't just like have an opinion about something without having reasons for why, without being able to argue why I have that opinion.
A healthy challenge.
Yeah, because she which, at first I hated that because it's like, just shut up. I have this. I don't know why I believe it. I just like this. You know.
That's a good answer.
You know, but
I like that she doesn't call the cops anymore when I beat her.
No, but
I like it. He checked the door. He's like, "Is she coming in?"
oh my god, there's
He's looking over his shoulder.
Put the sword away. Okay. No, but now, like, I understand that the beliefs that I have now and the opinions I have now are more solid opinions, and I can argue them more because she has forced me to know why I think what I think. You know, because she doesn't just let me get away with it. So
It is fascinating how it changes. You know, I'm at the age now where I have friends who have been married for 20 years and are divorcing, and you're just like, you think to yourself, how can you? Like if you're after that long of a stretch to get divorced, you know what I mean? Like how does that happen? But I think you either grow together or you grow apart. It's kind of one or the other, you know. In other words, you're going to change, you know, when you're 20, especially if you meet your wife when you're young, when you're in high school. I mean, the changes that you're going to go through, or when you're in college or that age.
Well, at this point, you say about like people at 20. At this point, like with the idea of being single and like dating again is just kind of like, no, it's just too much work.
I'm holding it down for you guys. Don't worry.
I'm just kind of like, I'm at this point. Like we've worked so hard at this point to get where we are right now. Why would I want to start over again?
But you said you have changed together,
right? And we have, yeah.
But I think you can just as like I totally get it when friends tell me this is what happened.
Yeah.
You know, and this is why we're no longer married. I don't.
Okay, yeah.
When I was younger, I think I probably would have criticized people.
Right.
Like, oh, you didn't work hard enough to keep, you know what I mean? Like, it's all about compromise or stood on some sort of soapbox. But I don't feel that way now because I know people where I knew both parties and I knew them for a long time and they were married for a long time and they just are two completely different people.
And I don't, that can happen.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I know people that have done that and are still on friendly terms with each other. And
yeah,
stuff.
it doesn't mean they hate each other.
They just determined that they weren't working well together anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
I know what you mean. I mean, I've seen it in people change like that too. I mean, I'm obviously don't have as many years of experience as Jason, but I have seen, you know, couples break.
Yeah, sure.
Friends and stuff, and it's at times when I was younger, I would have been like, you know, try hard enough as well. But even now, I'm like, I can kind of understand how it just doesn't work. And you know, you can grow apart from each other.
Especially when you get into the mid-30s and you start to question, like, you've been in the same career for 15 years and you're like bored. You know what I mean? Like, I totally get that stuff. I feel very fortunate because we were a couple that grew together and changed together. You know,
just reminds me of the movie Lost in Translation. That's kind of the subject matter of that. You've seen it, right, Shawn?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that the Adam Sandler?
No, that's Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Going through that kind of, I've been doing this forever kind of thing.
But in a very artistic way.
Yeah, and with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
So, multiple reasons to watch that movie. Okay, I have a topic, and then we have 2 questions. So let's go through the questions real quickly first. I've got a nerdy one and a random one. Which one do you want to do first? Votes. Nerdy. Okay, Scott Herzog from the Sci-Fi Diner podcast asks, what's your favorite Deep Space Nine episode? And, Jason, you said you watched Deep Space Nine, so this totally applies
Sean's
to
out.
you.
Yeah, I recently watched the series again.
Okay.
I enjoyed that series. I thought it was really well done. And I used to not. I mean, back in the day when I watched it, I didn't care for it as much as Generation. I always kind of wish the Next Generation would have continued and swallowed those up. Boy, to pick an episode though, I did read those questions, and that baseball one.
The worst one, yeah.
It's absolutely the worst episode.
Yeah, that was horrible.
My wife actually went to sleep.
I have no doubt.
I mean, like, intentionally. She was like, I'm not going to watch this. You can watch the rest of it. I'm going to sleep.
When I watched through the series, that was the hardest episode.
It's tough. I did watch it.
Of all of them to watch. I was just like, ugh.
I haven't seen much of Deep Space Nine.
My favorite Deep Space Nine episode, and my favorite from almost all of the subsequent ones after the original are the episodes that deal with the original cast. So my favorite episode of Deep Space Nine is they go back in time to the Trouble with Tribbles episode, and they superimpose the characters in the episode, and it looks so good. It's amazing.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I remember when it actually happened, and we watched it. It was a trip, but that's sort of like one of those standout episodes. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's why
that's a go-to.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Everybody
You're like, oh, it's too easy. I want something where.
Yeah, like bring it, David.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
But one of my favorites was when I always liked when Odo went back to his homeland and rejoined. Those were cool.
Some cool episodes where Odo was trying to practice shape changing in his like apartment, and that was like the theme. I always thought those were interesting.
Yeah, I hated.
The only episode I remember is the one where Odo is accused of killing some guy.
Oh, really? Is that the one? Is like a parallel dimension?
That's my favorite episode.
That's it. Well, it's obviously my favorite because it could also be my least favorite. But it's the only one I remember.
I hated the Ferengi episodes.
Really?
Yeah,
They were
those
like
were like
staple
what's
of the
the dude from Star Wars that everybody hates?
The dude from Star Wars that everyone hates?
Yeah, the
Jar Jar.
Jar Jar.
Yeah, that guy.
He looked at Sean Jones like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's not Han
I don't
Solo.
particularly care for little boy Annie.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, to me, the Ferengi are like that. It's just like, shut up, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I agree.
They were just so overplayed.
That was like their gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, and Odo too.
My kids say they're the guys who have butts on their heads.
Well, they do.
Right. I mean, that's their. They've got these big. They look like butts.
Yeah.
It's just the dumbest thing.
Look it up, Sean, and learn.
I don't care.
Okay, so now the random question, which comes from Elaine, and she said, "What is the best sandwich?" And she told me I had to pronounce it that way.
What is the best sci-fi sandwich?
What is the sexiest sci-fi sandwich?
Sandwich.
Sandwich.
Well, I'm just going to say sandwich.
Hey, incur her wrath. Do whatever you
I don't
want.
care. Take her wrath. Sandwich.
I told her when she asked, I said, when we're all dead, just remember what you brought upon us from this argument. Favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich is the cheeseburger.
Okay, that counts.
You can go anywhere in America and probably anywhere in the world and get a cheeseburger, and it'll probably taste different.
It's true.
And it'll probably be half decent.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it's a good go-to. Like when you're on the road.
I don't know if I'd say it's my favorite, but it's a good, definitely all around.
Keith?
I'd say a Reuben.
Now, Reuben is what I normally order at a restaurant.
But the thing is, though, it's hit or miss with the Reuben, because sometimes you get one that's good, and sometimes you get one that's not so good.
A bad Reuben.
Bad Reuben.
I used to be a fan of the Reuben. I was at one time a big fan of the Reuben.
Then he had a bad Reuben.
That just set me off.
What changed?
I stopped lacing it with crack.
It's so weird.
It's the reason I stopped drinking Coca-Cola.
I started eating better food, like healthier food. But speaking of the Reuben, I want to shout out to the Seed, which is a new restaurant. Who's heard of the Seed? Who's been to the Seed? No,
None of us.
I don't know what you're talking
There's
about.
a new restaurant. There's a new restaurant in Lancaster called the Seed.
Okay.
It
Sounds like a seedy place to me.
It's like a vegan. Sounds like a
It is.
vegan place.
It's a vegetarian and vegan place. And my family is heading that direction.
So what's their cheeseburger?
They don't have a cheeseburger, but they have a Reuben. They have a Reuben.
How do they have a Reuben if they're vegetarian?
It's tofu.
That's not really a Reuben then.
Well, whatever.
It's a vegetarian Reuben. It's a bad Reuben.
It's a vegetarian.
bad.
It was actually fantastic. It was a vegan Reuben. I had a vegan Reuben at
Call it
this place.
something else. Don't call it a vegan Reuben. Can't be a Reuben anymore.
Are you
Did I tell you I
upset?
was
Am I
raised-
upsetting
It
you?
can't be a
Evo
Reuben
vegan?
if it doesn't have the meat on it. It's not a Reuben.
Just to be clear, there's
right,
a line here.
I had
The vegetarians need to come up with names for their own damn food and stop naming it after meat lovers' food, okay?
All right. I had a
We don't take our food and say, this is a broccoli beef sandwich.
I had a vegan Slesser at the Seed. I had a vegan Slesser. It was a grilled tofu, Thousand Island dressing, kraut. It was it was outstanding. They make an awesome Slesser down there. And, but it's located right above. It's in that. I guess it's called the Central. Is it the Central Market Mall?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like where that nightclub. There's like a nightclub. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what
Few
you're
doors
talking
down
about.
from Dipco.
Right next to Dipco.
Yeah, and you go in and you go upstairs, and it overlooks the parking lot. Like you could see
Really?
the Ware Center from it. That's kind of to give you an idea of where
Okay.
it is. And they just opened. But it's a cool concept. It's the 5 people who work there all co-own the restaurant. So
Right.
it's like a co-op, and it's all vegetarian and vegan. And you can make anything they have on their menu can be made vegan,
That's interesting.
even if it's just vegetarian.
Well, I was saying that you guys are going that way. And
Yeah.
I was raised Evo vegan. I think that's how I say it. I had I would have goat, dairy, and some poultry, like eggs.
Got it.
Other than that, it was
Is that right?
all vegan. Yeah, there's a word like I'm pretty sure it's Evo vegan. There's like a type of vegan that allows those two things. So it has to be goat dairy.
Why goat dairy?
I don't know. It has something to do with it being different than cow in some fashion.
Cows are
I don't
somehow.
know. All I know is that
Goats
I was that way
don't
until I was 9, and my mom had said that I was stinky because the goat milk is stinky.
So that's explained.
So that
You still eat goat milk? No, I'm just kidding.
because apparently the males pee on the females, and then it like seeps in, and then I don't know, something like that.
Just like our family. No.
So that explains it.
Moving on from me smelling bad.
So the Seed has a great Slesser, is the point.
Okay.
That's my favorite sandwich.
That's your favorite. Okay, so if I would have thought broader, I would have picked the Reuben, no doubt. But I was thinking classic sandwich, and I thought roast beef and cheese with like some mayo.
Cheddar cheese.
No, cheddar.
Like a roast beef sandwich, like a lunch meat roast beef.
Yeah, but I like my roast beef a little bloody, so it's salty. And then her subsequent question was toasted or not. Now, all of yours were hot, so I would just say toasted for mine, because with the melted cheese, that roast beef.
Well, always toasted. If you have the opportunity of having a sub toasted or having it plain, always take the
That's not,
toasted.
I don't, just recently I got a meatball sub, and I got it not toasted.
Well, but the meatballs are hot. Like
That's
like,
why I didn't
If you
do
have the
it.
option of getting it hot or cold, I think hot cheese, because the cheese just tastes better when it's all melted in all over everything than it does if it's just the cold cheese on top. Just my opinion.
Just one man's opinion on melted cheese.
I'm entitled to it.
Okay, all right, so my topic,
Slesser
Vegans
on
don't know what
cheese.
they're missing.
Slesser on cheese. My
Vegan
topic,
cheese doesn't melt right.
it ties in with a current event going on right now for me, but maybe you guys have something similar, and that's what I'm looking for here. So back when Halo 3 came out, I wasn't as social as I am now. I was going through a pretty rough time in my life, and I wound up making a huge group of friends through the online community of playing Halo, to the point where like most of these friends, we became friends offline and continued our friendship long past since I stopped playing games. Pretty
Were
much.
they local enough to meet them in person, or was it offline meeting?
We never.
Not
I
as
never
part of
met
the game.
him. And one guy was in Australia.
Okay.
The guy that I'm closest with, Maximus, lives in Kentucky. And some people were in Washington State, and like just kind of all over. But like every night for a year and a half or something, like every night Maximus and I would play. But like people would join, a couple times a week, and we ran the quote unquote clan or whatever you want to call it. We just kind of got together and would private chat while we play the games and just have a good time. And I mean, maybe you can relate, Sean, because you do video game playthroughs with people and stuff. But so anyway, the game passed, my life changed, started Lancast, much more social person now. I still keep in touch with Max. So now Halo 4 came out, and we've started playing that and like reminiscing about how we used to play with these people and kind of like rekindling our friendship on a certain level that we haven't done in several years. Have any of you ever had a situation like that where you were put into an odd situation and met people that you wouldn't normally associate with, that you wound up keeping, even though you really don't have anything else in like
that's
strong
the one
common?
thing, right?
Yeah, like I mean, Max and I have other things in common, but most of the strongest thing is like for us is Halo and video games in general. So for us to like get together and play Halo is pretty cool. And one of the guys we got close with, he wound up dying from cancer. Max actually traveled to his funeral a couple states away. So like we think about that as well because from playing with him. So if any of you had now, were you in a band? Used to play? So you guys have bands. So maybe that's. I was never in a band, so maybe that's why I never really had that experience anywhere else.
Bands are definitely different types of relationships. It's like it's a very intimate thing that you do quickly without dating. You know what I mean? Like without. When you say, okay, we're in a band.
It sounds funny, but he's right.
Yeah. It's different than friendships. And a lot of people that I played with over the years, dozens, there's been countless bands. Not many of them was I really friends with outside of the band. So when the band ends, we no longer stay in touch, which is strange.
I would say, based on the bands I've been in, it's a wonder that bands exist.
I would agree with that. Absolutely.
They're really hard to do. I don't talk to anyone who I ever played music with.
Huh.
The only real band I've ever been in was my brother and I, and so
You don't talk to your brother.
I obviously keep in contact with him.
Or he obviously doesn't.
Well, he moved to England to get out of the band, so
all right, we
and I'm
get
sure
it.
he's probably listening to this podcast, so I don't know. Other than that, I mean,
when I was in graduate school, I'll let you think on that for a minute. When I was in graduate school, we did a cohort. So it was 3.5 years of the same. I think there were 12 of us, maybe 10. Maybe there were a couple that sort of dropped out, and then one or two people that they came in because they needed to make up a class. But for the most part, I'd say it was a core 10 people that went through this program together. 3.5 years. Never would have connected with them otherwise, except for the fact I worked with one of the guys, so we were friends through that. But that was a very similar experience. Because for the most part, I never would have spent time with these people. And a couple of them, I don't know if any of them I actually hang out with now. But like I ran into one guy First Friday. Mm-hmm. And it was like I hadn't seen him since the last day of the last class. But it's like there's a connection there.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, oh, man, and you start kind of rehashing real quick. And I bet if somebody said, hey, let's all get together, we'd all want to do it. Yeah. But ironically, one of the women I was in class with, her daughter and my daughter are friends in school. Huh. So we keep up. They're not real close friends, but they're in the same grade, and they're peripheral friends, Yeah,
that's kind of, with Max and I playing now, it's just like picking up like we had, nothing had happened. Like the teamwork's still there, the same kind of chatter, the same
trash talk.
Well, we private chat, so we don't have to interact with any of the kids. But I mean, the probability of
you're just trash talking each other.
Yeah, trash talking each other. The probability of me connecting with this guy then is so insane. Like, I mean, I don't know how many Xbox users there are out there, but he's in Kentucky. He could have. I mean, very easily one of us could have been irritated that night and just said something like derogatory, and then the connection would have never been made or something.
Right.
So it's just kind of crazy. And now I've kind of forced my way into a group of people that Shawn talks to, and I'm getting to know these people from long distance online and the YouTube community or whatever. And it's just kind of, I see a similar group of people that are all connected in the same way that I was connected with this group. So it's just kind of weird.
How many of the old gangs getting back together to play?
At this point, it's just Max and I. We've noticed some other people playing. We haven't gotten a chance to play with them. It's only been a week or so since last week the game came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only been a week. So Like, we used to play with a husband and wife team in Washington. I don't remember where these guys were, but there was a father and son, and like that was their thing, was they would play together. Yeah. And I mean, the son was a teenager, so we see them on every now and then. But we haven't got a chance to play with them yet. So, and then another guy's in Australia, and the time difference is just like you have to be up in the middle of the night to play with him. So
yeah, right.
He wants to. It's just impossible. So
I think it's interesting how those relationships are developing. You know, there's a lot of talk about how it's negative. You know, like the socialization of, or the connections that you make online. Yeah. You know, there's always going to be that perspective that it's a bad thing, and that, you know, you need. I'm not saying you don't need face-to-face relationships, but
yeah.
But I don't think they're all bad. I mean, I think it's great. Like, you're talking about this community, you really care about those people.
Yeah.
Even though you don't have face-to-face contact with them.
Yeah.
So I think that for me, like as far as an online anything like that happening and meeting people and connecting, trying to have like you're talking about playing Halo and like talking. I'm assuming you mean like typing, chatting, conversation, or can you actually talk to the person? Okay. So if you can actually talk to the person, yeah, that would be kind of cool. But like, I know people that have like these long conversations with just chatting, like instant message kind of thing online with people, and it makes no sense at all to me, because to me typing is work. You type when you have to write a turn paper, and when you have to, and I just hate
you don't know
doing
what you're missing, man.
Yeah, I just hate doing it, so I just don't. but like what Jason said about school, like you said about, or like whatever that group co-op thing,
that was a graduate program.
Yeah.
But with the cohort is you do all the classes with the same 10 people.
Right. But that to me, like right now I'm in school for massage therapy, and there's a lot of people in there that I would never associate with outside of the class.
And now that you know them, you still wouldn't associate.
Now that I know them, I definitely
would.
No, but meeting them through this class now, I've started to develop friendships, and with people that are into very different things, and they're all in the school for very different reasons. Some of them want to go into sports medicine and therapy, and some of them want to do more homeopathic medicines and stuff like that. And so there's a huge, wide variance of people coming to this school that for very different reasons, but are all together, and they're there's some relationships.
I mean, even if you just look at the four of us, I mean, the Lancast is how we all met. So,
yeah, that's true.
So it's you knew Jason before. Technically, I knew you two before.
Yeah, but I actually knew Jason better than I knew you before the Lancast.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow. So, but still, even so, I mean, like Shawn and you and I and Jason. So, but on the other hand, podcasting is probably seen at a much healthier hobby than playing video games in a lot of people's eyes. So,
well, for the people that know what podcasting is,
yeah,
I still have a lot of people who are like, I do this podcast. A what?
It's radio.
It's the radio show.
Well, anyway, guys, it's been another guys' night, a great one to close out the year. So we'll be back.
Year.
I know.
It's the last one, brother.
Ever. It's the greatest one to close out humanity.
Close out humanity.
Should our ghosts be around, we'll be back next year. Before we go, though, Jason, Shawn, why don't you tell people how they can find out more about what you guys do?
You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Shawn V. Martin.
Now you can find me at woodstovehouse.com, Facebook, and Twitter with the handle woodstovehouse.
Well, thanks again for joining us for another episode of Guys Night. Hope you enjoyed. We hope you've been enjoying the Lancast.
This episode was produced by myself, David Moulton, with show notes by Keith and Lauren Slesser.
All pertinent links to this episode can be found in the show notes at thelancast.com.
If you specifically liked this episode, we ask that you consider making a donation.
Every little bit helps. Even $1 a show can keep us going.
If you'd like to help support us, you can do so by going to thelancast.com/donate.
And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes and tell a friend about the show.
So, for the Lancast, I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slesser.
Asking, are you in the cast?